It's a new beginning for the Jacksonville Jaguars as we open the 2025 season today. Welcome to the Jaguars franchise, everybody. We have a lot of work to do, and I got one offseason to get started already, but did not really have the type of offseason you'd probably expect given the glaring issues on this roster. I did address one of them in drafting J.D. Short with our number 8 overall selection. Normal dev is disappointing, but I think the ceiling remains high nonetheless. I just couldn't help myself when I saw the quality of playmakers that were available. I could have maybe stayed put and taken a center or something, or maybe stayed put and still gotten one of these playmakers. But I went and got the players I thought could make a big difference, even if it hurts 2025. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence can succeed behind this line, but he'll certainly have playmakers. There's really only going to be the one excuse, and that is the play of the O-line. I will say, though, looking at some ratings, getting more familiar with this roster, Anton Harrison is someone I wouldn't overlook being a starting tackle for a while because I think his ratings are fine. Maybe I'm wrong, but he has an emphasis on pass blocking in his ratings, 81 awareness. The big hole is the 82 strength. I don't expect him to be great in the running game, but if he can pass protect, then maybe tackle doesn't look as so much of an issue. But the interior is going to have to get addressed down the road, as we don't have a young starter on a rookie contract right now. Will Hernandez was brought in. We have Ezra Cleveland as the only player on the offensive line above a normal development. That's a good start, but we're going to need more. On defense, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, and then the trade of Tuli Tuipulotu. We have pass rushers, and now might have the making of a secondary in getting Tyson Campbell to an 80 overall and then selecting J.D. Short. I also like the linebackers in Devin Lloyd and Foyesade Oluokun. It's great to have a linebacker like Oluokun with the athleticism, the excellent run-stopping skills, with cover ability. Not as high as it once was for him, but now he's 30 years old, still probably has a couple starting caliber years in him. Today we're going to get into week 1 and jump into this first season in the franchise. And we got to catch up first with QB1 Trevor Lawrence. How much better has he gotten during the offseason? This is now the Nate Bell program, and we need to get Trevor Lawrence back on track this season. I made decent progress, not as good as I would have liked. You know, that's promising when you're talking about a conference where you've got to compete with Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Josh Allen. I totally want to hear that he made decent progress this season. Trevor Lawrence does get an upgrade at least. Will boost the short and medium accuracy, and that very low awareness is now bumped up to a 66. I brought in brand new coordinators for Jacksonville this season, and we are going to get a boost here for short accuracy, and that'll help a little bit, but my big concern is the very low awareness for Trevor Lawrence, and now being in his mid-20s, it might be tougher to earn the upgrades necessary to fix it. And then for our defensive coordinator, we are going to focus a lot more on the corners than the safeties. We need to make sure this secondary is in better shape to not allow the most yards in the NFL this season. So I'm going 2 points on lockdown and 1 on bouncy as I work my way down to the bottom, but kind of spreading these points all around to get this started. And while J.D. Short is not going to have star development or anything better, we can boost his XP right off the bat. Kind of convenient it's here at the top of the board for Nate Bell in defensive development. I imagine that could be the case for like every coach, but it especially fits because it's Nate Bell. We got to go 3 out of 3. Do you guys want to see me do training camp every year? It's an option, and we need to get some development, so we're going to go for it. I'm giving myself one chance to do all of these drills. There's a 2-for-1 from Trevor. There's the 2-for-1. We break 15K. I don't know what it takes to get gold. We'll see if we can get the 3-piece right here. Going for Eli Arrington. Okay, that was a little early. We're going to get silver, though. I also want to see this year if Tank Bigsby can become this team's RB1. I've always been a fan of Travis Etienne, but looking at the state of this team, I don't know if Etienne is going to be the starter for the long haul in this series. With where Bigsby is, I'm a little more intrigued with his game, and I think he offers more power than Etienne. Gold for Bigsby. And I'm excited to see what we can do with these playmakers. Eli Arrington was just way too good a talent to pass up. When I saw how good the route running was, and that he could also get off the line well, was a great athlete, I could not just sit back and take a center. I couldn't even sit back to wait to take him, because if I missed, I wouldn't have been able to sleep that night. Bronze medal. And when it's the third round and you have a chance to just sit there and take a tight end who has the skill set to perhaps become the next George Kittle. He has good athleticism, can block, he has high break tackle at the same time. With the age of some of the playmakers on this team, I felt like Easley was the best player in the third round when we were on the clock. And when it came to he and Arrington, those were two players that I had like an easier evaluation with because I had the right ratings unlocked. I had less information because of the way the scouting was set up by the CPU. So I tried to make the best with what information I had to make sure I didn't miss. I might not have addressed the most pressing positions, but I think we're going to be happy a couple years down the road that we have Easley and Arrington. Bronze medal again. I've never even done this drill before, so I just have to get in the way and knock these down while collecting multipliers? I missed. I'm sorry, Trevor. I picked up the 5th-year option on Trayvon Walker, and I think we'll probably end up extending him, and if he has a productive year, that decision will get a whole lot easier. This drill, man, I wish they would come up with some more realistic drills, honestly. Just give us the Oklahoma and some solid real football drills. It's hard to just make it happen at cornerback. It's not an easy position to guarantee production, but if J.D. Short could have a big year and maybe win Rookie of the Year, we could see his career really take off. But I'm still feeling pretty confident overall, given the size, speed, the high man coverage on day one. We gotta talk to the media now. Now that we're in the middle of camp, I've got some roster questions for you. Quick question about left tackle Walker Little. What do you have him working on in training camp? I'm going pass block finesse. That is going to be the most pressing concern there on the edge. I typically upgrade the offensive linemen focused on finesse if they're tackles, power if they're interior guys. And now we're getting a position battle media thing, so I'm going to have to be a little more willing to give a tougher answer, I guess. They don't like it when you kind of just brush the questions off. So a left end position battle. Who will start between, or which stat will determine the starter? You know what? I'm just saying there won't be a battle. Trayvon Walker's going to be a starter. I picked up his 5th-year option. Great. Morale's down 10. I just got to start probably skipping these. Jacksonville goes 2-1 during preseason. Trevor throwing 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. Travis Etienne, 2.7 yards a carry. Tank Bigsby, 3.2. This is what we've seen from Madden for really the entire PS4, PS5 generation, is the offensive line is going to have a really hard impact on the yards per carry. It's hard to overcome when they're low. Typically, though, with an 85 overall running back, you can do better than 2.7. So, really big concern off the bat about our running game this year. Christian Kirk was the top receiver. We did not see nearly enough from Eli Arrington and Curtis Easley, and I set up the depth chart to get these guys on the field more, but only 31 downs played for Arrington. I don't know if he got banged up in one of those games. It's possible. 3.5 sacks for Eric Armstead. Daquan Jones, 2. Those are the top 2 defensive tackles this season. Interceptions for Aluakin and Lloyd. Let's upgrade Trayvon Walker's power moves. We have that at 79 with we got 2 upgrades. We're going both into power rusher. I don't know what the sack numbers in this game are like, but I'd like to see at least 8 this year out of Walker. And what could really hurt us early on in this series is if the offensive line is actually this bad and the running game is, say, bottom 5 in the league. That makes it a lot tougher to develop Tank Bigsby. We need to get him well into the 80s by the time his rookie contract is up, and we have a 2-year clock that begins right now. And if he has a mediocre year, say 515 yards, 2 touchdowns, something of that nature, I may have ruined the chance to really develop him optimally. We're going to go pass protector on Anton Harrison. We lose scheme fit in the process, but I just wanted to prioritize the pass protection. Yeah, this morale drop too right off the bat for a team that is already at a talent disadvantage in most cases. Excellent coaching by yours truly. We're going to have a team culture speech, all right? I'm an awful coach. Would you change that about me? Our culture defines how we play every single week. What culture do you want us to embrace? Trevor, you are making the decision. You are the starting quarterback. This is your make or break season. I want us to be disciplined on offense and defense. That is a great call given just the start to his career and the way the Jaguars have played in those few seasons. So we're going to boost pursuit and play recognition, carrying on offense. I think I might have chose that one anyway, but I was giving Trevor the chance to be a leader is all. Apparently in the news feed here, we see Aaron Rodgers got cut. That is excellent news for Minnesota if they'd like to repeat history. Who wants to sign Rodgers to a $19 million contract? I know there's already been a lot of feedback to look at trading Evan Ingram with him going into the last year of his deal. That would probably be a good idea, having Curtis Easley already on the team. It's not like there are a bunch of great backup centers around, though, that we could look to add. Bo Limmer is one option. A little bit lower than who we have already, but at least he'd be younger with low 70s overall. Former 6th round pick in 2024. I might wait a little bit, see what the most glaring issue is to address, and just let things play out for a couple weeks. But there are also a lot of cuts, obviously, this week with everybody getting their roster down to 53. If we take a look at the offensive line, 73 is the best you're going to get here. There is a move I'm actually going to look to make here, and that is to sign Mohamed Kamara off of the Raiders practice squad, as he would just be a better backup linebacker than at least one of the guys that we have. And when I get my hands on a new team, I really like to turn over the bottom of the roster as quickly as I can and get some new players in there to develop. So we'll release veteran Anthony Pittman. Here were the players we just straight up released, including Kevontae Turpin, because I think they don't have his speed nearly as high as it should be in the game. And we have Devin Duvernay, who I think can return with a little more juice here in this series. And then here is the practice squad for the Jaguars. And there are actually a couple intriguing players here. I have undrafted rookie Neville Newsome from Mount Union, the Purple Raiders. Newsome has 89 speed with 77 tackle. Awareness is in the low 70s, 61 zone coverage. So a player that could develop into a backup maybe by the end of the year or early next. Also, Solomon Kidd needs some more refinement before he's probably ready to play, but has decent release. Route running is, getting there. It needs more, obviously. 87 spec catch. I don't usually have much to talk about with the practice squad players. We'll see what this franchise brings. But it's time for us to get to week 1. We got the LA Rams to kick off the year. As I talked about in the first episode, I really want to bring these series back to being about the team building and having that be the core of the series. And we are still watching games in slow simulation, of course. But I want to be pickier about how much time we spend doing that, especially in the early days of the series. We are obviously going to get to know the team today and do what we have to do to establish this series, but I do want it to be different from the recent ones that I've done. George Foreman is in this draft. It's going to be a good year. Wow, as we check out this draft class, there is an absence of skill players and quarterback at the top. A lot of pass rushers. Some guys to defend those pass rushers. 2 top 10 safeties. And then you got some skill guys there in the 10 to 15 range. The quarterback class, though, is very thin this year. The running back class could be solid. At wide receiver, some fringe round 1 to 2 guys. Maybe not as strong as a lot of these classes are if there's only a couple in the top 40. My top concern right away is going to be the offensive line, and there seems to be a lot of good left tackles. Well, 4 good ones and then all UDFAs. I think the interior is going to have to be addressed, and there are a bunch of top 100 players there. That's going to be the emphasis of our scouting this season, and probably some defensive tackle. So it's supposed to be a good class for outside linebacker, safety, and receiver, actually. Weak at center, quarterback, inside linebacker. I don't even know why I continue to click on these. What area of the team are you worried about the most? I'm worried about the offense. I think that both could be really bad. But Trevor plus the offensive line just offer a lot of problems right now. But we're going to talk about the defense instead. What part of the defense is strongest? I think it's going to be the pass defense. We have rushers, more cornerback talent. I don't know about the run defense quite yet. I didn't make a move in the offseason to really address that. What was the question again? I'm going to say I like the pass rush. Should have said secondary to stay true to Nate Bell's background as a corner. Now, let's say our starting defensive ends combined for 20 sacks. I could see that between Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. If they don't do it, I just won't pick up the phone for this call. Such a weird way, though, to try to add something into franchise. It feels very tacked on and sloppy. All right, we're about to play, but for now, these are the 3 focus players. They're the only good 3 rookies I drafted, so pretty easy choices there. And we'll see if these rookies can get off to a hot start. Eli Arrington earns his first upgrade, but we're also fighting back against morale already. And it's time to get the games underway and see what direction this franchise is truly headed. What do the Jaguars have to offer us this season? I would like to see promise, obviously, out of the offense. If we could get to 7 or 8 victories, take an improvement off of last year, and develop a couple of these rookies, I would call it a success. Not expecting playoffs, not expecting a great overall season. But at last we have some franchise action here on Madden this year, and we are underway in 2025. And on the return up across the 25, we will start it for Trevor Lawrence in a very big year. And we're open and empty, spreading out the defense with all the skill talent that we have. And Trevor Lawrence will open with an incomplete pass to Evan Ingram. Hands off to Travis Etienne. There's some running room. Gain of 12. So we're going to open this year with Etienne getting most of the carries. He's the best running back on roster. We're going to force him to fail before, taking away too much of the workload. Nice cut as Etienne picks up 5 more. Eli Arrington, number 10. He's in the slot. Should hopefully get him a lot of volume this year. And Lawrence, plenty of time. That pass is hauled in by the rookie, first-rounder Eli Arrington, as our top offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland heads to the locker room. Rams force a 3rd down finally. Trips at the top for Trevor Lawrence. Rams bring 4. Lawrence throwing it away. He felt the pressure and wanted none of it. So a field goal try for our first points of the year, a 54-yard attempt. Kick is up, a booming kick, and it's through. Cam Little puts points on the board. And now the first drive for our defense. And the Rams have a new quarterback to debut with Matthew Stafford no longer their leader. Caleb Ross is the new quarterback. Not a bad situation, though, when Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are your top 2 receivers. This is Kyren Williams, gain of 2. So here on the bottom, right there, that's the rookie, J.D. Short. And the handoff to Williams will get a few more. Yeah, I figured out finally the telestrator, so I can do, all sorts of stuff now while I'm doing this, and especially as I'm calling the games and not actually playing it, I can play around a little bit. And it's going to be a pass on third down, and it's caught. Kyren Williams. But I want short listed as the number 2 corner because most teams play their best receiver on the offense's left. So that's going to get him the toughest matchup down there. And eventually I think that'll be our advantage, but I surely want to see him get tested early on and really find out how good he is. He and Tyson Campbell both at an 80 overall. And they're just going heavy Kyren on this opening drive. It's Boss. He's got time, and the catch made. Pass rush, not much of an impact there. I'm sorry, his name is Ross. They motion out Kyren. Puka looks open. And the Rams have it at the 20. 3rd and 2. Ross off the fake. It is Cooper Kupp. 1st and goal. Long opening drive for Los Angeles. Empty on 3rd and goal. Ross has time. And at the goal line, the catch is not made by Kyren Williams. So, a couple things that'll be different in this series compared to some of my recent. I want to watch less full games where we're watching almost every play. Nice grab by Brian Thomas Jr. What a catch. So, it's first game of the year. We're going to watch some of this, obviously, but I don't think a lot of games really deserve the full game treatment unless they start to mean something more, and there's really a reason to watch the whole thing play out. We want to work at a faster pace. I would like to get through seasons in less episodes, simulate more games, watch more partial games, and realize that if this is going to be a long journey, let's say, 8, 10 years, who knows how long it goes, as Arrington makes the grab. How important is that week 4 game truly in the grand scheme when you zoom out and think about a 10-year series? Probably not deserving of its own episode and being over 1% of the series. On 3rd and inches, Lawrence throwing it away. I hope we're willing to go for it here. This is the most cowardly. No, Nate Bell, you can't do this. Fake it. The way it used to work in these series is we'd watch a lot of the first quarter and then simulate much of the second and third and then watch much of the fourth quarter if it's close and important. And I think there'll be a lot more of that in this series. I just got really carried away in the past franchises with watching entirely too many games, taking too long to go through seasons. We're moving the football here. A couple big passes on this drive with a penalty to help out. And we have it in the red zone. 3rd and 3. It is Etienne on the call, and he's down to the 2. 60 yards already on 12 carries. I guess maybe I don't have to be as concerned about the offensive line. And that's without left guard Ezra Cleveland. I don't believe he's out there right now. As Lawrence throws the touchdown. And the first of the series goes to Christian Kirk, who missed most of 2024. I'm not really counting anything from the episode 1 as like the beginning of this series. That's the prologue to me. I just had to do that to get to the offseason. Rams do a really good job answering on this following drive. Kyren Williams, as he does, gets the red zone touchdown to tie the game. Eli Arrington, 16 yards, and then 13 to put us in field goal range. The rookie is hitting the ground running. That's Christian Kirk in motion on 1st and 10. Etienne picked up the rush as Arrington gets crushed. Arrington, again, hit for a loss by Byron Young. And hopefully Lawrence makes the right decision on 3rd and 13. He goes up the seam. Number 2 for Christian Kirk. And the Jaguars pull ahead. And the defense comes up big on the following drive. Josh Hines-Allen gets his first sack of the season. Intercepted! Here in the fourth quarter, it's Devin Lloyd with the Jaguars up 7 with 9 minutes left. We unfortunately go 3 and out following the turnover. 4.5 minutes to go in the game. Rams down 7 in their rookie quarterback's debut. Kyren Williams, 88 yards on 21 carries. I mean, that's not terrible, and that's kind of the bar after 2024, giving up all those yards and points. Rams, 4 minutes to go, and they've got some really good receivers. Are we ready for this? Caught in Jaguar territory. That's not even one of the big two. That's John Mechie. Caleb Ross. He's got time. And again, Mechie has the first, or should. Fake to Kyren. Over the middle. And incomplete with short defending Puka Nacua. That's heck of a matchup in his debut. Nakua's routes are just nasty. And his footwork along the sideline, especially in that last game against the Bills. Oh boy, that's going to be a first down for Puka Nacua. It's Ross on second down, floating to an open man. Nacua was by himself. McVay is dialing up the plays right now when they need him. Cup the motion man. It's Kyren cutting up the middle. First and goal, Rams. Williams, so good here in the red zone. Gets to the 2. We got strip ball on aggressive, apparently. It just flashed. Second and goal. Swung out. Puka Nacua ties it on a touchdown. Rams line them up in the backfield that time. I love seeing teams sprinkle that in these days. Vikings do it occasionally with Justin Jefferson. And with the extra point, we'll have a tie game with 41 seconds to go in week 1. I feel like Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove this year, and if he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC, he needs to take command of this situation, get us into field goal range, and win this game. We have 3 timeouts, 37 seconds. That is enough time, more than enough time, to set up a field goal. And you've got the receivers to do it. I guarantee that. First down, pressure on Lawrence, but what about the O-line, Kane? I'm aware of our deficiencies. We used a timeout. And now Lawrence fires out to Thomas. He caught that one. Still a little ways to go, though. 4 on the rush. Lawrence floating out to Kirk. And we could try one from here, but now you worry about the Madden time management. Hey, not as bad as it once was. It has gotten a little better. Fake from Lawrence and knocked away. Actually threw it toward the boundary there. Very iffy if you could throw it in the middle and get a spike in time. Trevor Lawrence circles out and throws away. If you got a bunch there on the bottom, it's got to be a combination that gets the sideline throw. Trevor Lawrence is going down. Anton Harrison was beat, and Lawrence did not step up. And that's going to end regulation. 17 all in week 1. We get a pretty good game to start the series, just as I like to see. Please leave a like on the video if you are enjoying this and want to be a part of this ride. I do my series, as kind of a hybrid franchise rebuild. I started off calling them that just because I knew it would be good for YouTube, like SEO stuff, but it really is a hybrid, traditional franchise where you go through all the games versus a rebuild where it's meant to be simulated heavily, covering a lot of time. It blends those together. We get the GM experience watching games play out, and honestly, I think the games end up being a little more higher quality anyway, in terms of the overall gameplay and making the series all about the players. That's what I love in these series. They had a pretty good return to start overtime, and the Rams get the football. Ross to throw. After a 15-play touchdown drive to tie it, they got Kyren for 8. Ross drives the pass, and it's hauled in. Tyler Higbee to the 41. I think one thing we're obviously missing is a pass rush presence through the interior. Arik Armstead is our best player in that role as Kyren reaches 100 yards. Ross has Cooper Kupp, and the Rams just keep moving. Not many answers lately for the Jags D. Kyren Williams will grind out a first down. I'm not sure I've ever been more wrong about a player than Kyren Williams. That's Kupp, and the Rams now 13 yards from victory. Like, I thought Kyren Williams might be, a guy that makes the roster for the Rams, but I really didn't think much of him coming out of Notre Dame. Great grab. Ross trying to win it, and the catch is made! A walk-off score for John Mechie is how this franchise opens. The Jaguars had some hope, but have it wrestled away with a heartbreaking defeat, which sounds extremely on brand for this franchise. And that's our number 1 corner, Tyson Campbell, getting beat by a number 3 receiver. Good game. Rams just made a lot more plays at the end, and they were rolling on those last 2 drives. We weren't forcing TFLs, sacks, pass breakups, nothing. Just not enough from the defense late. 2 sacks in the game for Josh Hines-Allen, 1 for Arik Armstead, a pick for Devin Lloyd. Very tough way to open the year for Jacksonville, with an injury being suffered by Ezra Cleveland. So the O-line was the top concern, and we lose our best player 1 game in. Game 2 sees us take on Christian McCaffrey and the San Francisco 49ers. This is the exact kind of game we shouldn't spend a lot of time on. It's week 2 against an out-of-conference opponent in season 1. The Jaguars get off to a hot start in this game, carrying a 17-7 lead into halftime. I think Trevor Lawrence is having himself a good game. Maybe a very good game. 36-yard score to Christian Kirk puts us up 3 possessions. It's a hot start for Kirk this season. Now or never for San Francisco. It's a 10-point game in the 4th quarter, and they have the ball. They'll take a field goal with 8 minutes remaining. And the very next play, Trevor Lawrence throws an interception. Brock Purdy throwing it out to McCaffrey, who makes the catch. Jacksonville led this game 24-7. Now the 49ers 1 play away. McCaffrey inside the 10. McCaffrey gets the carry, 1 man to beat, and he gets around the safety, Darnell Savage. It's a San Francisco touchdown, and they've come all the way back. Look at the day Trevor's putting together, though. 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ultimately, though, it doesn't just come down to the raw production, but how do you play in the 4th quarter? We didn't get what we needed in week 1. It's a second chance here. 6.5 to play. Handoff, Etienne. Good effort to the 30. He's only handled the ball 8 times for 44. 3rd and 5. Lawrence across the middle has Brian Thomas. A pistol look, giving to Etienne, and hammered at the 45. I don't want to give the ball back to San Francisco without getting some points first. 3rd and 4. Lawrence is going to run. Lawrence has the first down and a lot more. Etienne, big hole up the middle. Gain of 7. They don't really load up the box here at all. It's 3rd and inches. Big run. Travis Etienne down to the 13. That's a run. Etienne wants to bounce it. Lowers his head, gets 6. So we're inside 2 minutes. An excellent drive. We are running pretty good clock here. We could do a little more. 2nd down. Etienne. Not this time. It comes down to Trevor. Or maybe not. Etienne gets a little closer, forcing a timeout. And we're hoping a 3-point lead will be enough. The kick is through. We lead 27-24. A minute 13 for Purdy in the offense. A deep shot. What a hit. Broken up by Darnell Savage. And in Madden, that's a great play. In real life, that is a 15-yard penalty, a suspension, a fine. San Francisco facing 3rd and 6. San Francisco in 4-down territory, needing 4 yards. They do a lot of this motioning with McCaffrey. Purdy, plenty of time, and too easy. Purdy over the middle, and Debo makes the catch. They used their last timeout, so it's going to be a lot tougher to try to get a touchdown. So the defense could not come through late against the Rams. They have another chance this week, and Purdy converts. Debo Samuel at the 39. And maybe a setup play now. What do they call with 15 to go? Purdy. No, you probably could have dumped it to McCaffrey. If they make a play in the middle of the field, though, it should be over. Brock Purdy floating it out of bounds. Wasn't there. So on 3rd down, they're going to try the field goal now. Nate Bell looking for the first win of the year. Gabe Davis is fired up. It's a 56-yard attempt for Rodrigo Blankenship. Missed a 55-yard try at the end of the first half. This to tie it. It's good. And we could have overtime for the 2nd consecutive week. Last play of regulation. Lawrence cannot throw at 80 yards. Not that quickly. We go to overtime. What a start to the series. Back-to-back overtime games, and this is going to shape the early series narrative if we drop 2 in a row like this. Oh, thank God we won the toss. All right, he's getting the football this time in OT. Trevor Lawrence, a touchdown, wins it. I don't know if we want that defense on the field again. Been a big second half for San Francisco. It is floated too high for Christian Kirk. He gives to Etienne. Big hole. And a first down. Or I guess not. What was that other line then? We have 2 lines there. What's the point of that? That one's behind where we are. 3rd and 1. That must be a field goal target marker that never got taken off. And we didn't get it on 3rd and 1. And if there's anything we are not built to do well or consistently, it is convert short yardage and run in obvious running spots. Big disappointment there. But it was a twofold deal there. I mean, he misses the throw to Kirk. We can't run on 3rd and 1. You make 2 mistakes in 3 plays, your drive is over almost every time. So San Francisco ball, a field goal would win it. Brock Purdy firing, has Debo. First down. That was Kittle in motion. They go to Ayuk. Gain of 8. McCaffrey chased and cut down for a loss. And this here is the play of the day. They got both their stud receivers down here on the bottom. 3rd and 4. Pushing the tight end outside of them. Purdy. He's got him. First down, Brandon Ayuk. Teams are picking on our top cornerback here early. Really tough route to cover, especially with a pick from Debo. We cannot play a lot of man coverage with this talent. And I will be affecting our offensive, defensive playbooks. But when I start up these series, I see what's there and make the changes kind of from that point. San Francisco close to field goal range. 1st and 10. Purdy, open man is McCaffrey. Turns it up inside the 30. First down, chased. Big time play. Josh Hines Allen. San Francisco's offensive line isn't the greatest either. Trent Williams retired after year 1. Second down and 20. Out to McCaffrey! And that'll set it up inside the 15. How are you supposed to defend that? These motion plays they have are nasty in San Francisco. I got to see a lot of that motioning with Miami when I did that little spin the wheel fantasy draft. And the game is over! A walk-off touchdown, Brandon Ayuk. And the Jacksonville Jaguars open 2025 on back-to-back overtime losses, giving up walk-off touchdowns. If you don't like that, you don't like Jacksonville Jaguar football. What a tough way to open this series. 0-2 stinks any way you put it, but that is an especially atrocious 0-2. Blew a 17-point lead in the process. Brock Purdy turned it on in the second half. Lawrence didn't play poorly, but we aren't making plays late in the game. Big day for Brian Thomas. We also see Eli Arrington go for 479 and the first career touchdown for him. Evan Ingram has a touchdown. Christian Kirk caught one. It's very difficult to make it to the postseason with an 0-2 start. And that's where we find ourselves. I love your feedback down below in the comment section. What do you think of this team after getting to see them a little bit? Next episode, I anticipate going through 4 more weeks and just straight simulating some of these games. But now the series is settling in. We know what we have here in this team, and we certainly want it to be better than this. And it might be time to make some roster moves when we get to the next episode. So thank you all for watching today's video. Just what a start to the franchise. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought of the video. I will obviously go through editing and take a look at things, see how long these games took and your feedback, and factor that in as I try to really get these series back to where they're supposed to be. Rebuild franchises and really fun experiences. That is going to be all for this episode. More Jaguars coming your way later this week. Have a great day, everybody.